Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Ray, psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. Today we're going to talk about how traumas can affect a relationship. Back. Today we're going to be talking about how traumas can affect a relationship. So we're going to start off by saying that what I'm talking about is not as a generalized situation, and it's not to diagnose anyone with any particular type of mental health condition. But I just want to shed some light on how traumas can affect a relationship. So by starting off, traumas is something that you've experienced in your past. It can be an acute trauma, something that just happened to you 3 days ago, and you cannot forget it. It makes it tough for you to sleep at night, and you tend to toss and turn, have night sweats or nightmares, flashbacks. You have those type of things that may occur after you've experienced a trauma. So what I want to reiterate here is that traumas can come in different types. It can be physical trauma, sexual trauma. It can be just like a soldier that just came from doing a tour and have seen a lot, from death to God knows what. But traumas can affect people in different ways. So if you haven't quite healed from a trauma and you're looking and are they either in a relationship or you're about to be in a relationship, there's some things that you might want to consider before even entering into a relationship, or if you're already in a relationship. First of all, starting off getting into a relationship and you have past trauma. Traumas are like heavy bags or weights on your back that you're carrying with you all the time. And so I'm going to put one out. For instance, sexual trauma. You've experienced a bad experience in your life, and you have been either sexually molested, you have been sexual misconduct have been forced up on you, and you haven't quite lived that down. But you still feel lonely, and you feel like that you still want to move on past that scenario. You put it, what we call, on the back burner of our minds, and we just don't want to remember it anymore, right? So we disassociate from that trauma. So now when you're dealing with a sexual trauma, what happens is, if you don't get therapy or have never ever dealt with that type of trauma, it tends to eat at you. It's like decay. And any relationship that you decide to get into, it affects not just you, but it affects the other person as well. The other person may not understand what you're going through. So you may not even feel comfortable sharing that information with someone, right? So you're getting into a new relationship, you're trying to move forward, but you can't get past it because you still have that in the back of your mind that's eating away at you. So you don't want to be looked at as being crazy, or you don't want to be looked at as being incompetent or being able to handle yourself or your feelings, so you don't share it with anyone, right? So you continue on in life dealing with this on your own. And when you're dealing with it, it may come about to where you start having suicidal thoughts. You start having thoughts of self-harming. You may start acting inappropriately sexually. You may start blaming yourself for everything. You may pick up doing drugs, things that can harm your body. You may not be able to get along with the people around you. It starts affecting everything around you. It left the inner you and started emitting outside of you. Right? So we have to deal with that. The first thing that any person that's going into a new relationship should do is self-reflect. What is it that you want to correct with yourself before going into another relationship with a trauma? Carrying all those bags on your back, and it's like filling up a room with a lot of bags, and you bring all those bags to your new relationship, and it clutters the room. You and your partner have no room to move about in that space. So the key thing is to move some of those things out of that space. Seek therapy. Look into getting some assistance with your emotions and the traumas that you've dealt with. So, not just sexual traumas we want to bring to the attention. We also want to bring to the attention to any other traumas. It can be traumas from where you came back from war and you've encountered so many things and you've seen so many things, right? You haven't quite gotten over that. And in most cases, when you deal with something like that, it could be brief or it could have happened years ago. That is a condition that's usually brought about in clinical terms as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And they have therapy for that. Besides cognitive behavioral therapy to help with that, they have EMR. So some things that can really show that you may have PTSD. You start avoiding areas that may bring about situations that was in your past. You avoid people. You're a loner. Sounds can maybe startle you and make you feel very, very uncomfortable. Someone could fire a gun or pop a firecracker, and that could trigger a response and cause high anxiety. With any signs of PTSD, it's usually a duration of at least 3 months after the event. So these things can occur in a relationship to where if you bring these types of traumas into a relationship, it can cause many things to happen. You may not be able to cope with certain situations in the relationship. The other person may yell at you and you may react in a negative way. So whatever trauma it may be, traumas can affect you in so many different ways to where the comfort zone of being in a relationship is just unbearable. So the key thing is that I always give a talk to some of my clients that have experienced traumas, right? And usually when I give them these 3 things to kind of look for and to maybe help them deal with their traumas. Now, taking into consideration these 3 things that I'm about to give you, it can take a lifetime. You're not going to start feeling better over time. Traumas didn't happen like in a short period of time. Trauma could have happened and then you've lived with it for so long and never did anything with it as far as getting treatment. So this information I'm about to give you may assist you in dealing with traumas, especially when you're looking for going into a relationship. Number one, forgive those who have offended you or hurt you. Number two, forgive yourself. Number three, learn to love yourself and self-reflect. Learn to love yourself and self-reflect. Self-reflection really deals with, what is your purpose? What do you want to be past the trauma? How do you want to overcome your trauma? See, traumas can cause people to not trust. Traumas can cause people to be irritable, upset, angry, act out, do drugs, do all the things that are negative. But now it's time to stop being a victim. Start moving forward to where you're no longer a victim. And you're gonna need some help with that. In most cases, therapy. So cognitive behavioral therapy helps you rethink some of the things that you have experienced, and it sheds light on some of the things you can do to improve your circumstances. There's another one. The other type of therapy is going to be EMDR for PTSD. Eye, movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. EMDR, most commonly used for PTSD. So with EMDR and CBT, these types of therapy is most often used to help cope and also deal with past traumas. So the key thing is that unless you are ready for a relationship, don't jump into another relationship knowing that you have a past trauma that is not quite healed. It causes confusion among yourself. It also causes some misunderstanding between you and the significant other. It can also cause habitual situations where you're dating or hooking up with people with no cause. Most people like to be together because, one, they want to build together. And if you have trust issues, issues where you haven't quite healed over with, you're dealing with things that's dealing with yourself and it's hard for you to move forward, then I would not advise going into a relationship unless you've first taken care of yourself and done those three things that I just mentioned to you earlier. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I hope that it was helpful. If you have any questions, by all means, comment, subscribe, send those comments, and that way that we can communicate and talk and figure out some things together. I really enjoy doing this, and if you guys like to comment, continue to watch these videos, and I will see you on the next one. And one last thing I want you to always remember: be stress-free. Have a good day, guys.